The release of Dragon Age: The Veilguard has ignited a firestorm of debate among gamers, drawing sharp lines between enthusiastic followers and staunch critics. While BioWare aimed to revive their iconic franchise, the results appear to be a mixed bag. In many ways, the release epitomizes a growing divide in the gaming community, where discussions increasingly pivot from evaluating gameplay mechanics to dissecting sociopolitical themes and narratives. As players express their frustration, contrasting opinions emerge. Some celebrate the game as a triumph, while others bemoan its perceived deviation from quality storytelling in favor of overt messaging. Either way, the raw numbers just don't look good. This is Marks on Games, and today we're talking about the massive failure on many fronts that is Dragon Age: The Veilguard. Now, let's get into it. I've seen quite a few games that have been hilariously bad for one reason or another, but none have been quite as out loud and proud about being preachy and only market to one single audience as Dragon Age: The Veilguard. Judging from game clips and interviews and promotional material, BioWare has taken away all pretenses of just making this a good game and focused solely on the message. However, there are still those that either don't care about having socio-political degeneracy shoved in their faces, or they just roll their eyes and move on. Those people have said that the Veilguard is either enjoyable to play, or they just don't hate it. Either way, it's a divisive subject. Let's dive into some of that with an article from comicbook.com. Dragon Age: The Veilguard has divided the Dragon Age Reddit page. BioWare and EA's recent release of Dragon Age: The Veilguard has sparked a significant divide among players and critics alike. The game has received decent critical acclaim, currently holding a 79 out of 84 score on Metacritic, which is lower than previous titles in the franchise, but still a solid showing. Conversely, user reviews have been overwhelmingly negative, reflecting a stark contrast in its mostly positive rating on Steam. The Dragon Age subreddit showcases the split among fans, with some declaring it a massive disappointment, while others praise it as one of BioWare's best offerings ever.
Sure, Jan.
Highlighting the polarizing reaction to the game. Anecdotally, I've seen the same thing in my comment sections every time I post a video about the game. Some say it's great, some hate it, some refuse to even play it, some think that I should never talk about it because, how dare you? It's honestly a mixed bag.
Hold up, wait a minute. Something ain't right.
The discussions on Reddit echo sentiments from past Dragon Age releases, with some users expressing frustrations and others finding joy in the experience. While previous installments like Dragon Age 2 and Inquisition also faced criticism and support, the current responses seem much more extreme than ever. Maybe that's because of the overt preachiness of the rainbow agenda that they thrust upon us.
Phrasing?
And maybe it's the whole putting message before sorry thing, and perhaps jamming 21st century, relatively new concepts and mindsets into a medieval fantasy game really rubs people the wrong way. But that's just a wild guess. Despite the divisive atmosphere, discussions remain robust, suggesting that such polarizing reactions are characteristic of the Dragon Age community. I guess you can call me a Johnny-come-lately to the Dragon Age discourse here, but I have never seen such bickering back and forth about one of these games. And what this article fails to mention is that when people used to bicker about games, and if the new Elder Scrolls, for example, is as good as the last one, they were talking about the actual gameplay quality and graphics and replayability. The mass of the discussion had today about games is that they were political, divisive, and cringy. Do you want to waste your money to get preached at about the ability of fantasy characters to come out to their parents about who they sleep with? No? Then you're a bigot. Speaking of which, let's all witness that together, shall we? After all, I wouldn't want to be accused of being hyperbolic.
So, I'm non-binary.
Who the starts a conversation like that? I just sat down.
What does that mean?
It means I don't feel like a man or a woman.
Ah, boy, here we go.
If you are neither a man nor a woman, then what are you?
A bitch.
Non-binary. I just said, and I'm going to use they instead of she from now on.
Hey, nobody cares. Nobody cares.
So I'm supposed to struggle with who I am? Even if I don't feel like I fit, even if I feel wrong?
No, you misunderstood.
Then say it better.
This right here is bullshit.
I know she's your mother, but I don't like her.
You're a problem. You're a real problem.
I'm not hiding anymore. How she takes it is her problem.
That brings us along neatly into this article from Bounding into Comics, where I'll show you some examples in video form. This Dragon Age the Veilguard cutscene where BioWare lectures the players on misgendering is just as ham-fisted and embarrassing as it sounds.
Not good. Believe me, not good.
The release of Dragon Age the Veilguard has triggered widespread criticism, particularly concerning the game's narrative and writing style. Many audiences are quick to react harshly to media content, but the backlash against the Veilguard stems from what critics describe as overly explicit and clumsy writing rather than mere hyperbolic reactions. A particular scene illustrating this issue features the Inquisitor and their companions, discussing the topic of misgendering in an uncomfortable and contrived manner, where attempts at humor intertwine with heavy-handed messaging.
Oh, shit. They're still holding it. Sorry.
Boy, here we go.
When one of us screws up and we know we've screwed up, we do a quick 10 to put it right. Pulling above.
Right.
Any reason you can't just apologize?
Sometimes people say, oops, sorry, and hope that fixes it. But they just want to get the whole thing over with.
Yup!
Pulling above, you sweat a little. Makes you think about it a little more.
Oh, shit. Here we go again.
Some people mess up and get all dramatic. They make it about them. Oh, I didn't mean it right. I'd never do that on purpose. They feel so bad about it that it's on everyone else to smooth it over and make them feel better.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Pulling above puts it on the person who screwed up. They made the mess, they fix it, done.
Shut your mouth! Shut the up, you cunt!
Oh, Tarsh isn't the first non-binary member of the Lords.
Really?
It was a little before your time, but Horlicks was one of ours. Huh. Bastard looked better than I did in a dress or pants. And out of them, too.
Ew, David!
I didn't expect the Lords to care about the stuff. Me being non-binary.
What the hell is even that?
This scene doesn't just blur the line between character dialogue and authorial lecturing, but it completely destroys it. Nothing could be more eye-rolling than taking a break from your fantasy game with made-up magical characters to get a lecture on he-she's and they-thems and ze-zers. Ugh.
That is one big pile of shit.
Critics argue that this approach lacks nuance and feels more like an overt lecture on social issues rather than organic storytelling. That's not even an issue of it feels like, it just is. Overall, the criticisms encapsulate a perception that the game fails to achieve the subtlety that many players desire in contemporary narrative, leading to a broader conversation about the balance of representation and storytelling in modern gaming. It's even worse in a game like this, where you have the ability to create your character with top surgery scars. In a land of magic and monsters, people are getting nips, tucks, and cuts. What the actual hell?
Why?
And lest you think, even after these examples that I showed you, that critics are being a bit too hard on this game and jumping to conclusions about the developers' motivations, they accidentally messed up and left their own stupid notes within the game's codex.
I know you're having fun. I used to have fun myself. But there's something you need to know.
Stuff like that?
That's a load of crap. That's a load of crap.
Yes, we're dealing with some real geniuses here. My final example of proof that this game is written by incels and femcels that have never voluntarily had intimate relations, yet all they do is watch internet prawn and be degenerates. Let's take a look at this insanely awkward scene.
Are you trying to have sex with me?
What? What the fuck?
Hadn't really thought that far ahead, but maybe?
Quick, think about us having sex.
How about no?
Just threw up in my mouth a little bit.
So now we need to figure out if it's cash lock or Tom lock.
And those are...
Cash lock's just flirting. You look and make jokes and maybe think about them for fun. Tom lock is serious.
You want to grab that and taste its neck right by the collarbone.
Ew, 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 ew.
Ew. After all of this, are you surprised at this article from That Park Place? 14% of Dragon Age the Veilguard physical retail orders reportedly canceled ahead of game's release. Total pre-orders less than 200,000.
Damn!
Approximately 14% of physical pre-orders of Dragon Age: The Veilguard were reportedly canceled shortly after the game's release, raising concerns about the title's performance. YouTuber Andy Mion noted that a retail insider revealed that 956 out of 6,793 pre-orders were canceled, equating to a cancellation rate of about 14%. He also shared that total pre-orders, including both physical and digital copies, were significantly lower than expected, estimated to be below 500,000, with some sources claiming it closer to 200,000. The game's sales figures have continued to underwhelm, with estimates indicating that Steam sales are less than 500,000 copies and a peak of only 89,418 concurrent players during the launch weekend, which dropped to 65,639 by the following Monday, reflecting a decline of 26.5%. BioWare and EA have since announced that they will not provide any downloadable content for Veilguard, shifting their focus entirely to the next Mass Effect game. Don't get me wrong, I know Mass Effect is a huge title, but it always shows supreme confidence in a game when it drops, and all support instantly shifts to another game that's not even close to coming out yet. The developers have not released any sales updates, contrasting with other October game releases that reported strong initial sales, leading to speculation about the game's disappointing performance. Over 30,000 returns have already been issued, according to Andy Mion, after only selling about 500,000 copies.
Jesus Christ!
At best, the Veilguard is a middling game that won't stand the test of time. In fact, in my opinion, it will fall into the dustbin of history as soon as we turn the page on the calendar. Comment with your thoughts on all of this. Have you played Dragon Age: The Veilguard? How do you think it is? Do you care about the overt messaging being shoved in your face? Is the gameplay at least entertaining? Do you agree with any of what I said in this video? Why or why not? Let me know down in the comment section. As always, the links to the articles I covered can be found in the video description. Also, please share this video around to everyone you know, and don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and click the little bell to be notified every time we post brand new content. This has been Marks on Games. I will see you next time.